Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Yesterday was January 18th, 2016, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I put out this video yesterday called The Deaths of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, plus what it foreshadows for the 44th President, Barack Obama. A fellow subscriber, after watching this video, went out and did some research and shared with me their findings. I want to share those findings with you very quickly and elaborate on them. As I talked about in the video, the name Martin Luther King Jr. equals 93. The name Malcolm X equals 93. Both men died at age 39. In the case of Martin Luther King Jr., he gave his last speech April 3rd, the 93rd day of the year. Both men were assassinated on dates with 44 numerology connections. The word kill has a gematria of 44. Now look at this, Truth Seeker. This is the temple where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his final speech April 3rd, 1968 in Memphis, named Church of God in Christ Mason Temple. The address is 930 Mason Street. Emphasis on 93. 93. Martin Luther King Jr. 93. Malcolm X 93. 93rd day of the year. Both men dead at age 39. Look at their phone number. 947-9300. Do you think that's a coincidence? As I continue to say, it is the Freemasons who operate by this numerological code. They kill people by the numbers. They have people fake their deaths by the numbers. Church of God in Christ Mason Temple. With regards to death, think about this. Crucifix has gematria of 93. The crucifix is the symbol of Jesus on the cross, a very Christian symbol. As I talked about in yesterday's video, Saturn is the keeper of time. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassin would die in prison 30 years later. Saturn, the small way, equals 30. The big way, 93. Tying in with all these coded 93s. And again, both men, Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, dying on dates connected to 44. Malcolm X died on a date with a life lesson number of 44. His assassin got 44 years in prison, and his assassin had name gematria of 44. Can you say Patsy? 44 in gematria sums to 144. April 4th in gematria sums to 144. MLK assassinated on 4/4, April 4th. Later that year, Robert Kennedy would die at 1:44 in the morning on June 6th. Again, Robert Kennedy equals 66. Sirhan equals 66. Dead on June 6th. The Masons kill by the numbers. It is Masons and Masonic families ruling over us. Many people say Martin Luther King Jr. was born into a Masonic family, which is very likely. It's probably true of Malcolm X, or if not born into it, becoming affiliated with it in their lifetimes. The word time has gematria of 144. Again, Saturn is the keeper of time. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassin, which I talked about in yesterday's video, died on a date with 144 numerology. Also, time in simple English gematria sums to 47. Memphis equals 47. Christian equals 47. I noticed this Christian Masonic temple has 47 in their phone number. Probably not a coincidence. 47 has a numerology of 11. 4 plus 7, 11. 947. That might be a little covert way of even coding a 911 into their phone number. Now, Truth Seeker, another thing I talk about on this channel that a lot of people don't appreciate because they disagree with me is that Christianity is a Masonic religion created for the purpose of misleading people and for dividing and conquering them. Religion, one of the things we are most divided over, fighting over things that none of us can prove. It takes faith, belief, things you cannot prove. To me, you should never fight over anything with anyone if all you can do is believe or have faith in it. You cannot prove it, you can just believe. And you can't expect the next man to believe. For all of my life, I've been at war with Christianity and Christians, not all Christians, but many, for this reason. I'm someone who has spoken out against injustice and tried to stand up for what's right. And so often for doing that, I've been confronted by Christians who say, Zach, there's nothing you can do about the problems of this world. That's why you have to believe in Christ and wait for his return. And every time I hear that, it makes me sick inside, because what I hear from these people is they're not interested in being part of the solution. They're more interested in believing in something that they can't prove. And they use it as an excuse to let the tyranny in this world go on, which is exactly why the Masons would give the people of the world such a religion. The Masons want to be rulers, and they are. They believe in conquering through dividing, and they have. Many people say that the original Bible text in its original language is identical to the Quran, and it's very clear that Jesus is not the Son of God. I don't speak the language of the original text of the Bible, so I cannot verify it myself, but just hearing it, it makes sense. All I've ever seen from Christians in this world is hypocrisy and a willingness to not do anything about what's wrong in this world. Instead, they want to fold their hands, pray, bow on their knees, and criticize everyone who doesn't agree with them. I am working very hard. I'm making major sacrifices in my life to help get out knowledge and information so that we can find truth and justice in this world. And there are Christians who've taken the liberty of making videos to sabotage me because I've been honest about my spirituality, saying why I am not a Christian. I want you to think about this religion in light of this information, and let us not forget that the first credited Bible publishing date, the Gutenberg Bible, that date in history is March 22nd, 22/3. Masonic in Jewish gematria equals 223. As we'd write it in the United States, that's 322, March 22nd. The number of the Masonic order Skull and Bones, an order for the elites who rule over us. Gutenberg Bible equals 66 in gematria. The Gutenberg Bible was 66 books in length, 39 Old Testament, 27 New. 39, the reflection of 93. MLK and Malcolm X dead at age 39. Again, with regards to Christianity and the story in the Bible, the word Christian has gematria of 47, like Memphis, where MLK died. Past year, on the 47-year anniversary of his death, there was the shooting of Walter Scott in the back, a story by the numbers with these same Masonic numbers heavily coded in. 74 days after the shooting of Walter Scott, there was the church shooting in Charleston. 74 days later, on Calhoun Street. Calhoun has simple English gematria of 74, Jewish gematria of 322. Numbers important to the Masons and the Bible. A church shooting on a street with 74 and 322 gematria, 74 days after the shooting of Walter Scott on the 47-year anniversary of the MLK assassination. The name Dylan Stormroof, the accused shooter at the church, name gematria of 74. This year, the Democratic Party had their debate on a Sunday, and they talked a lot about that Charleston church shooting. The Democrat symbol is the donkey, which has gematria of 74. Look at these numbers in the Bible. Jesus equals 74. Yeshua, the Greek spelling, equals 74. Joshua, the English translation of Jesus, equals 74. Cross equals 74. Messiah equals 74. Oregon is the only state of 50 that has a gematria of 74. 1 out of the 50 has a gematria of 74. Oregon's the 33rd state. Its abbreviation OR equals 33. Think about Jesus being crucified on the cross at age 33. Only the 33rd state equals 74. Like I said, this is a Masonic nation. We live in a Masonically controlled world. 33 and 74 are paired in geography, spirituality, science, news stories, and more, because there is a Masonic stranglehold on this world, giving people all sorts of information for the purpose of them fighting over lies and nonsense. Messiah equals 74. Gospel 74. Jewish 74. Think about how they say Jesus was Jewish. Another thing people fight over. Masonic 74. Lucifer 74. Here, I'll write up Calhoun up here since we were talking about it. Calhoun 74. Shooting at 110 Calhoun Street in Charleston by Dylan Stormroof. Look at this. Dylan Stormroof. Dylan Stormroof was arrested on Interstate 74. They say Dylan Stormroof's birthday was April 3rd, the 93rd day of the year where we began, the date of MLK's final speech at the temple with 93 coded all over it. So for all of you Christians, take a good look in the mirror and ask yourself if you are going to be so confident about your religion and demonize people who do not agree with you. I personally don't have any reason to be a Christian. The Christians in my life have been not so good people. I don't have ill intentions. I try to be good to everyone, even my enemies. I was recently robbed by my neighbor who's a Christian. Even though I knew he was an asshole, because he was my neighbor, I tried to help him financially. He was struggling, so I understood. I offered him some work and some cash. He got super excited about me having money in my home. Next thing I know, my home was broken into and burglarized. The first time I left it, after I'd let him know about the money, and he skipped town for a week, a guy who'd never left his home the whole time he lived across the street from me. A Christian who now drives to church every Sunday in the same vehicle as me that he bought with the money he stole from my home. Ask yourself, what type of person does that? Robs their neighbor, goes out and buys the same vehicle as them, files a restraining order against them, sets them up, gets them arrested. This is my story from helping my Christian neighbor. Even though I'm not a Christian truth seeker, I grew up raised a Christian. I learned the stories from the Bible. There's a lot of things in there I agree with, such as be good to your fellow man, the golden rule, take care of your neighbor, help people who need help. This is how I abide by. But I don't need all the dogma that comes with it. I don't need all the fire and brimstone fear. That's what I see in Christianity, fear-mongering. Just like how the Masonically controlled news is a lot of fear-mongering. Please help me spread this knowledge. And again, you Christians who demonize people, who say Jesus is the only way, I want you to consider what you have chosen to believe in. Believe, a word with 33 gematria, the number of obsession for the Freemasons. A word that has lie right in the middle. Until next time.